2 and going straight to Black Ops 4. Why? Because yesterday we got some pretty interesting information about the game, and ever since I've heard crazy rumors spreading around about Black Ops 4 or Call of Duty 2018, whatever you want to call it, and I think a lot of it needs to be addressed because a lot of it is just completely fake information, and I'm going to give you the cold hard facts and also my opinion on it as well. So, what is the news? The news is a job posting. No, you didn't hear me wrong, a job posting. But it's not the job itself, it's what the description of the job actually said. So, of course, this time of year is the time of year when Treyarch is trying to put together their next Call of Duty game, which is going to be the Call of Duty after Call of Duty World War II. And, of course, in doing so, they need to hire new members of their team to create this game. So, yesterday they put up a job posting for a system designer, specifically a combat system designer. And in the job posting, they had a couple different sections. First of all, they had what you should have if you want this job, things along those lines, but the one title was, and you'll really get our attention if you have, the first is combat design experience on a AAA competitive shooter. The next is previous design experience owning entire categories of gameplay content, both at the moment-to-moment and system level. The next thing, and probably the most important one that we're focusing on in this video, is deep knowledge base of firearms and modern military technology. So as soon as people read that, everyone thought, okay, we are getting a modern shooter for Call of Duty. And the final thing that the list said is Prestige 1 or above in Black Ops 3 multiplayer. So, put that all together, what do we get? Really, I think we get one thing that we are actually able to take away from this. And no, it's not that the next Call of Duty game is going to be a modern Call of Duty game. It's that it will not be a past Call of Duty game. It won't be a World War II Call of Duty game. It won't be a Vietnam War Call of Duty game. Why can I say this with such certainty? Because they're asking for modern military technology. Let's say, for example, the next Call of Duty game, Call of Duty 2018, aka Black Ops 4, is a futuristic shooter game. How would they have worded that differently? Would they have said, and knowledge of futuristic weapons? No, because futuristic weapons don't exist yet. How would it be possible that someone would have knowledge of that? Having knowledge in modern military technology, of course, would help with that, because they can take that base knowledge of modern military technology and develop it into a game. However, if this was going to be a World War II shooter, a Vietnam shooter, what we could take away is this ad wouldn't say modern military technology. It would say has a background in World War II, has a background in Vietnam War history, something along those lines. But that is not what it says. It specifically says modern military technology. So what I can take away from this is it's either going to be a modern or futuristic shooter. Do we know whether it's going to be boots on the ground? Absolutely not. There's no way of telling. Of course, Black Ops 3 was not boots on the ground, and as we know, it's the second top selling Call of Duty game of all time, next to Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. So at this point, we don't know whether it's going to be boots on the ground. We don't know whether there's going to be wall runs, none of that. So don't believe any rumors that any YouTuber is telling you about that, because I've seen about 5 or 6 videos talking about this that have all said this guarantees that the next Call of Duty game is going to be boots on the ground. By no means does it mean that. Also, just because of this, I don't think we can assume that it's going to be a modern Call of Duty game. Does it hint towards that? Absolutely. However, modern military technology could be useful in a futuristic Call of Duty game. It could be useful in a modern Call of Duty game. It doesn't guarantee that. However, there is one thing that I found a little interesting about this job posting. I actually did some research and looked at the other job postings that Treyarch was putting out, and none of them matched this one. And what I mean by that is in the other job posting, there was categories like you should have, or what we want from you, or things along those lines. None of the other ads had a heading titled, and you'll really get our attention if you have, the exact title that is in this job posting. And the thing with that is that what we know Treyarch and Activision do with their Call of Duty games is put out intentional leaks. They put out things to kind of get the hype going, get people interested. This could be one of those, and the reason why I say that is because none of the other job postings have this subtitle of, and you'll really get our attention if you have. That's the only thing that makes this really interesting to me. So it's possible that they put this out there as just a small little leak to make us think that the next Black Ops game is going to be a modern military shooter. And this leaves us with the final rumor I wanted to suggest, and that's the fact that a lot of people are saying and putting it out there that the next Call of Duty game will not be called Call of Duty Black Ops 4 or will no longer belong to the Black Ops franchise. And I think that's absolutely ridiculous to say for two reasons. The first of which is that Black Ops 3, as I mentioned earlier, is the second top selling Call of Duty game of all time. That is huge, and it's a recent Call of Duty game, which means that IP, the Black Ops IP, is doing incredibly well. Why would they get rid of that? It just simply wouldn't make any sense. On top of that, a lot of people are saying that, well, none of the Black Ops games take place as in the modern era. And that is true, kind of. However, none of the Black Ops games take place in the same era. For example, Black Ops 1 was in the past, Black Ops 2 was in the little bit future, and Black Ops 3 was in the distant future. Who's to say they couldn't have a Black Ops game that takes place in the modern day era?